Om Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vindhyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Yenaksharasamaamnayam adhigamya maheshwarat kritsnam vyakaranam proktam tasmai paninaye namaha vakyakaram vararuchim bhashyakaram patanjalim paninim sutrakarancha Pranatosmi munitrayam Vagarthaviva samprikto Vagarthav pratipattaye Jagatav pitarau vande Parvati parameshwarau Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Namaste. We'll see the Maheshwara Sutra. Om A I Un Relik A Ong I Ouch Haya Varatha Larn Gama Gananam Jabhanya Ghadadash Jabagadash Kapachatatav Kapai Shashasar Hal Iti Maheshwarani Sutrani Om Su Ojas Ot Shas Tabhyam Bhis Bhyam Bhyas Ngasi Bhyam Bhyas Ngas Os Am Ni Os Sup. Okay. So in our last class, we were looking at this, let me pull it up here, yogin-śabdha. So this is page 134 in the book. We're looking at yogin. Yogin is that the word, right, derived from yoga plus in. So yoga plus in, we get this word yogin, means one who has something, right? So one who has or one who is with, whatever it might be. So here it's yogin, meaning one who has yoga or one who is with yoga. So if someone does yoga regularly, right, then it's not, yoga doesn't leave them. They're always with yoga. So that's why they're called yogin, or they're called yogis or yogini. Right? So the feminine, right, we just add, so we get an extra ikara at the end, so it's yogini, and then it declines like nadi-śabdha. Okay, so that's a little bit different than what we're seeing here. Right now we're on this chart, it's really just pullinga that we're looking at. So if we remember how it is made, just quickly we can look at that and then we can chant it together. That for 1-1, yogin, and the sakara goes away. The E becomes long, so then it becomes yogin. And then at the end of the pada, nakara goes away. And this is what we call, we looked at the sutra, nalopaha, Natva-sandhi. And Natva-sandhi is when you have a na at the end of a pratipadika and at the end of a pada, then it's elided, it's removed. So that's why it's gone here. It's also gone in 3-2-3-3, 4-2-4-3, 5-2-5-3. The nakara goes away because it's at the end of a pada and pratipadika. So let's chant this together. Yogi, yogino, yoginaha. We can even do this. Just pull this chart up. Yoginam, yogino, 2-3, yoginaha. 3-1, yogina. Then 3-2, the nakara, the byam gets the status, it gives the status of pada to what's preceding it. Because the na is at the end of a pada, the nakara goes away. So yogi bhyam, yogi bihi. Then yogine, yogi bhyam, yogi bhyaha. 5-1, yoginaha, yogi bhyam, yogi bhyaha. 6-1, yoginaha, yoginoho, yoginam. 7-1, yogini, yoginoho, yogisu. So it's not, sorry, shu, because we have that that ikara that precedes it. So yogi shu. Inko, inku. Hey yogin, hey yogino, hey yoginaha. So hopefully it doesn't look too difficult. You know, once we know suojas, we get pretty far, right? Then we can just add it. But then there's some peculiarities, right? So for this, the peculiarity is that we have the nakara that goes away when at the end of a pada. Okay, in 1-1 it becomes long, dirga. So yogi. So before we look at an exercise, we were talking about this last time, that we have to be careful of Natva-sandhi. So this is where we left off. We'll just again review this quickly. I know we've reviewed this a few times. Natva-sandhi, you can open up your Sandhi book and look in the index, right, for Natva-sandhi number 10 in the consonant Sandhi section. Right, so go to consonant Sandhi Natva. We have to be careful of Natva-sandhi when we're declining yogin-śabdha because it ends with a nakara. Okay, so when it ends with that nakara, we have to know, is it going to be na, dento nakara, or murdhanya nakara? Is it going to be, right, this nakara, or is it going to be this nakara? Well, we have to go through each of the words to make sure we know, right? So here, what the sutra says, that the Sandhi says, is that na is the substitute for na when this na, nakara, is immediately preceded by ra or sha in the same pada. Now noticing I'm saying ra or sha, but it's really just rakara, repa, or shakara without the afterwards. So repa or rakara and then shakara in the same word, okay? Now, this doesn't happen, it's not the nakara, this doesn't happen when the na is at the end of the word. Okay, that's something different. Okay, so it has to be in the word, in some part of the word. Something has to be following it. So we'll see some examples in a moment. Okay? So here, there's some, Also, this sandhi can take place when we have a few things that are in the middle. Okay, so before we said, right, ra or sha is immediately preceding, but now this rule gets extended slightly in that this natva, I mean, na replacing na, can even take place when in between ra and sha, in between these two things, you get any of these, art, ku, and pu. Okay, we don't need to worry about ang and nu. Okay, what is art? Art is art. So all the vowels and the semi-vowels, except for la, li, which we don't see much of this anyways. So vowels and semi-vowels. Ku stands for these 5 letters, starting with ka, ka, ga, ga, nga. And then pu, pa, pa, ba, ba, ma. Okay, so when ra or sha has to be there, and it's either immediately preceding that this happens, or this art, ku, pu that have kind of got in the middle. They've squeezed themselves in the middle, right? Squeezing themselves in the middle. So these are our in-ending words. Now we have to see if we add a suffix afterwards, right? Will the nakara become murdhanya nakara? Okay, this doesn't apply when it's at the end of the word. So you notice how here it's just dento nakara, even though there's a r before it, there's a rakara before it, but when it's at the end of the word, this doesn't apply. So now when we add a suffix, so for example, 1-3 adhikarinaha, is it dento nakara or murdhanya nakara? So let's look at it, right? First of all, when you want to see this, you have to see is there a ra or sha preceding it? Right? Yes, we know that. We can see this refa here. Is it immediately preceding it? No, because there's an e in the middle. Even though it's written on the left side, it's in the middle. and a helpful way of visualizing that is writing the English version of it. So the Karin. So you see the I is preceding the N, right? So there's something in between the R and the N. Now, is that at, ku, or pu? The E is ikara. Is it at, ku, or pu? It is at, right? It's a vowel. So so therefore this rule does apply, right? Because I have a ra or sha that precedes, and then the ikara in the middle is part of at, right? And because that's part of at, then this applies. So when I'm declining this word, I would write, right? Adhikari, and then if I'm saying, like, for example, 1-3, adhikarinaha, and it'll be that murdhanya nakara. Okay. Okay, now let's look through our next words, right? Nyanin, do I see a ra or sha? No. So it's not gonna, we don't need to worry about murdhanya sandhi or natva-sandhi. Dehin, no, we don't see anything there. So first of all, let's start this, right? You can start in your book as well. Right? Dehin, we don't see anything. Now, pakshin. Okay, so the way this is written, that ksha is half ka and then murdhanya shakara. Okay, so I do see a sha. So if I'm going to write this in transliteration, it would be P-A-K-S with a dot, that's Murdanya Shakara, I-N. Pakshin. Now, Pakshin, I have a ra or sha, right, preceding the nakara. And then in between them, I at, ku, pu. Yeah, you don't need them, but I do have one of them and it does fit into at. So Pakshin, you're going to get the Murdanya nakara. Pranin. Okay, well, let's see. This is a little bit more tricky. I do have a ra, right? I do have a repa preceding it. Right? We're talking about this nakara, right? So now I have a refa. Does a fit in at kupu? A is okay, right? So a is fine. Is murdanya nakara in at, ku, or pu? Let's check that out. Right, we know that it's not in at because it's not a vowel or a semi-vowel, right? We don't count the it letters, so these don't count. We know that it's not in ku. It's not in pu either. So this murdanya nakara, this letter right here actually doesn't allow this to be applied for this last letter. So we don't get murdanya nakara at the end. When for example, if I'm saying praninaha, then I would just write it as is. Praninaha. 130. Okay, Vairin, I have Refa and I have Ikara in the middle. So this is, it's applied here. This is a funny word, Sharngin. Sharngin. So let's see. How do you do transliteration of the, here we can look at it here. No, dot on top. Okay, so I do have a refa. Is this in atkupu? This letter, it is not in at, but it is in ku. Right? You see it right here. So that is okay. Is gakara in at, ku, or pu? Ka, ka, ga, ga, na. So yes. And then ikara is at at, ku, pu. That's at. So therefore this works, right? So if I'm writing sharanginaha, then I would do murdanya nakara. Please let me know if this is over here, if this is not landing, or if you need me to slow down here, okay? So we should just check at kupu. So this, all of these letters in the middle do fit in at kupu. We don't need at and ku and pu, but if anything is in the middle, it has to be either at or ku or pu, or it can be at and ku and pu. It can be any variation combination. Okay, Shastrin, right? Shastrin. So Shastrin, I have Refa, and then I have Ikara. So we know that it will be applied here. Samsarin, right? So I have Refa and I have Ikara. So it is going to be applied here. Sakshin, how do we write this? So this is the word Sakshi, where the word Sakshi comes from, right? So this is Sakshin. I have Murdanya Shakara. And then I have At Kupu, I have E. So yes, this will be Sakshinaha. Swamin. Swamin, no, there's no Ra or Sha, right? So there's nothing there. And Hastin, elephant, there's nothing there as well, right? So we do need to remember this Natva-sandhi, because a lot of these words will, when there is that suffix afterwards, it will become murdanya. Yeah, Hariprasad ji, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
So, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
So, is it okay for me to say aham ekaha hasti pashyati pashyami?
So it's not completely correct, because you can say aham pashyami, that's correct.
Correct.
But then you have to put ekam and hasti, you have to put in second case. So ekam hastim pashyami, because that's the object of what you're saying. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
hastinam. Sorry,
Hastinam.
ekam hastinam.
Okay, got
Pashyami.
it. Yeah. Okay, धन्यवाद.
Okay, with that, let's see some questions. I mean, some exercise. So you can go back to the back of your book. This is page 184 in book 1, exercise 38. Let's just see a few of these. Some of these sentences are getting more complicated. So I thought we can look at least 2 of them. And if any of them else look difficult, you can let me know just by observation. Again, that's page 184. Yeah, 184, exercise number 38. So I started with number 8. Adhikarinaha shastrinaha vedan patanti. So we can do this. You can follow along. You don't need to write it, but you can do it in your head with me, right? I'll go at 2 speed here so we can, okay. So we always pick up, right? We always want to pick up our verb first. So you scan through these words here and you'll see the verb. You see it, right? You want to grab it, right? So your verb here, patanti. Now patanti, right? We know pat dhatu. Sorry, it's not playing for some reason. Okay, that's okay. We can do this like this. So patanti, that's pat dhatu, 1p to read, right? And so he, she, it reads. Now, pat dhatu, this patanti, we know that it's lat lakara. Well, really, we've only done lat lakara. We've seen some lot lakara, so that kind of gives away some. But this is present tense. Now, you don't see yakara, you don't see atmanepada, right? So it's kartri prayoga, and then anti, right? Anti, so you see, no, that is third 3. Pratama purusha, bahuvachana. Okay. Prathama Purusha Bahuvachan. Now, just scanning these words, right? We want to find a 1-3 that matches with this, right? A 1-3. Now, you see this Vedan, we know that's more like Raman, right? Or Vedan, right? That's 2-3, so that's not going to work. Adhikarinaha and Shastrinaha can be 1-3, right? It can also be a bunch of other things. 5-1, 6-1, right? So it can be some other things as well. Now, so let's see if it makes sense, right? Does it make sense that one of these are? So let's just say adhikarinaha pathanti. Adhikarin. What does that mean? One who has adhikara. Adhikara means qualification. So one who has qualification. So one who is a qualified person. Does a qualified person read patanti? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so let's just take it. Now the pratipadika, right? Adhikarin. Just like what we've been seeing these yogin-śabdhas. Do you notice how it becomes more danya when it's 1-3? Because of which sandhi? Natva-sandhi, yeah, Natva-sandhi. Or you can say more danya, but yeah, more danya. But yeah, Natva-sandhi is a better way. Now, right, we were saying that this is 1-3. We can take it as 1-3. Prathama vibhakti bahuvachanam. So first case plural. And this would be kartari prathama. So it's the doer of reading, right? It's in the sense of karta. Right? Kartari is just seventh case of karta, right? So in the sense of karta is the first case here. So our sentence so far we know is that the qualified person reads, right? That qualified person reads, or the person who has qualifications. This in stands for the one who has XYZ, right? Okay, now we have one more word, shastrinaha. Well, we have two more words, but here's one more, shastrinaha. Now, shastrinaha, looks just like what we've seen so far, yogin or adhikarin, so it's shastrin shabda. Now so this is in ending masculine. I didn't put that on there. We should also add that this is in ending masculine. We want to remember that. Right, we're doing this all on paper, but you can do this in your head just quickly. But when you're reading sentences, you're just doing this at a very fast speed, going through this whole process mentally. Okay, so shastrin, right? It is again 1-3. Kartari prathama to patanti. Now, notice how we have two 1-3s in the sentence. Now, you can try to take fifth case or sixth case, but if you try it out a few times, it doesn't really work so well. So now that's okay. We have two first cases. Now, what we do when we have two first cases is we say that they're in samanadi karanam. Samanadi karanam. The English translation is apposition, which is it's just as foreign as samanadi karanam. Now, so now we have samanadi karanam. What that means is that these two words are pointing to one and the same entity. right? So just like I say, the brown cow goes, brown and cow refer to one and the same thing, right? So here, I'm going to say the qualified person or the qualified one who knows the scripture, right? So adhikarinaha shastrinaha. Shastrinaha means one who knows the scripture, one who knows the shastra. Literally means one who has the shastra, but not just in their hand, but in their mind, right? One who knows the shastra. So the qualified one who knows the shastra reads. Reads what? Now there's only one more word and we can figure that out. Reads Vedan, right? Reads the Veda. Akaranta Pullinga. 2, 3. Karmani Dvitiya. 2 Patanti. So the sentence is, the one who knows the scripture reads. There's the qualified one who knows the scripture reads. Okay, so I'm hoping that this makes sense. Adhikarinaha shastrinaha Vedan patanti. Okay, if you're following along, then you also are adhikarinaha shastrinaha. We're not reading Veda right now, but Sanskrit pustakan patanti. Pustakani patanti. So how can I say that it's samanadhikaranam? How do you know? No? Okay. I'm going to ask you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
I just wanted to say, when you're writing Vibhakti Artha, you have to say somewhere that Samanadhikaranam. So where do you say that, I guess?
Yeah, perfect. So we can write that instead of, so in the Vibhakti Artha, you don't need to write, right? So here I have Kartari Prathama Tipatanti and I have Kartari Prathama Tipatanti. I don't need to write it the second time. I can just write adjective, or so this would be, so I would probably want to write this word first because this is my substantive. This is the main word, shastrinaha. It could be this word, it doesn't really matter, but let's say that we said that this is the main word, shastrinaha. Here I would just write adjective to shastrinaha. And by writing adjective, then you know it's samanadhikaran. So adjective to shastrinaha, or you can say predicate to whatever word. Yeah, so you can also say, so we wrote that, so the question is, can you say that the qualified person reads Vedic Shastra? No, you can't say that with this sentence. And the reason we can't say that is because we don't have the word Shastra here, we have the word Shastrinaha. Now those are two different words, right? When we had this in suffix, it means one who has something. So by saying Shastrin, I'm saying one who has the Shastra. So I'm referring to a person now. I'm referring to a knowledgeable person. So I can't say that these two words are in samanadhikaran, for example. Our time is up, so you can let me know if any of these give you some trouble or if you want to look at any more in the next class. I was going to go over number 9 because I thought it was interesting, but you can let me know. Just quickly, if we're looking at these words, just what we were talking about, right? Jnanin, right? One who has jnanam, one who has knowledge. So it's one who has. Dehin, one who has body. So some of these are interesting, like hastin. Hasta means hand, right? One who has a hand, but on their face. Is an elephant. One who has a hand, right? And so that's why it's called a hastin, an elephant, because it has a hand on its face. Okay. When you're looking at number 4, just one clue is pashya is lot lakara. Lot lakara, that's a verb. So it means you see. Okay. So, no, sorry, not you see. It means may he or she see. So may he or she see what? See the enemy. So we'll look at this maybe in the next class. Okay, let's finish here. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om.